Hello everyone, welcome back to another video. This one I've been really excited to share with you. So I've mentioned quite a lot that I want to get better with gouache and start using it more in my illustrations and just experiment with it in general, because it's easy to tell myself and you that I will use gouache again and that I will practice and make more paintings, but actually settling down and getting to painting is a lot harder than it seems. But I thought I wanted to follow up on the promises I've been making and actually make some proper gouache paintings. It's also really easy to pick up a product to use once for a video and then never use it again. So as I said in my gouache review, I said I would use the paints and the paper again, and that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to make sure that I was actually using them and not just letting them sit in a corner and go to waste, because I do genuinely love these gouache. I find they're a really good set for practicing with and learning how to use the medium, so I just want to learn. I want to get really good at this medium because I absolutely love the finished effect of a gouache painting. I quite like that it's matte instead of glossy. And I find when you use gouache as an opaque medium, it has a very different look to watercolour, and it's really interesting seeing my artwork translated into a different medium. I've also mentioned a lot how much that I want to branch out with what I draw and how I draw it, using different techniques and subject matters. And again, I've been talking a lot about doing it, but not actually doing it. So with these illustrations, I wanted to practice things I don't do very often, which is painting without line art. And painting without line art is very, very difficult for me because I rely so heavily on it, and it is one of my favourite parts of a piece to do, but I was worried I was getting too reliant on it. Because as I've mentioned before, stagnation in my artwork is something I fear, and with my line art, I've put a lot of practice and hours into making it look how I want it to look, but I'm worried it might be becoming a crutch for when it comes to certain illustrations. Because I felt if I tried to paint without line art, I felt my artwork would look more like, you know, very blobby and formless, and you wouldn't be able to tell what it was. Basically, I thought my painting skills were kind of weak, so I tried to make up for that in my line art. And while my line art isn't perfect, I do feel it's in a place where I am happy with how the results are. So I became very torn between whether line art was a stylistic trademark or was it just becoming a crutch that I could rely on because I was too scared of creating ugly paintings. Another thing when it comes to painting is I notice I have a very bad habit of being very impatient when it comes to big illustrations or complicated pictures. I don't like paintings or drawings taking more than one day, and if it isn't finished in a day, then I'm very likely to give up on the whole painting or drawing. And with that desire of wanting to finish a picture within a day, it's actually stopped me from starting a lot of drawings. Sometimes at 8 PM at night, I'll actually want to draw, and I actually make the excuse not to because I won't be able to finish it all in that one night. And I know that's really bad because I've made so many excuses not to get my paints out or my pencils, and I have to stop it. It's okay if a drawing takes more than one day. So with these paintings, I actually did do the sketches for them on a separate day than when I painted them, because I kept telling myself that it's okay if I don't finish them within one day. It's okay to save them for another day when I feel ready to paint. Because I think some days you're in a painting mood, some days you're in a sketching mood, some days you just want to do something a little bit more easier because your brain isn't in the right place to do something complicated. Because with illustration, it is a series of puzzle solving all the time, of thinking how can this look right, what do I need to do to this area of the illustration, and it requires a lot of mental thinking power. Speaking of brain power, I've actually really benefited from limiting my time on social media, and I think it's actually made me a bit more creative, and I find it easier to sit down and actually create something. I've been trying to make a habit of only checking my phone, spending time on social media for about an hour in the morning, and then after that I will try and settle down and do some work, and I may check it again once more in the evening, and I think it has really helped. I'm not sure what it is exactly, whether it's not being bombarded by advertisements and what other people are doing. Not that I don't like seeing what my friends are up to and what other artists have posted, but I think it's very easy to get caught up into endless scrolling, which I think is a really bad habit, and that's something I've really been trying to kick because I know how dangerous it is. I was kind of picking up my phone every couple of seconds even to check what was on Twitter or YouTube or Instagram, and I think that's where it was getting kind of too much for me. So I've tried to really keep an eye on how much time I am spending, and the time that I would have spent on social media has actually gone to other things now. So like with my planner, I've been working a lot more in that, and I've been having loads of ideas for paintings and videos, and also just taking the time to like enjoy a new show on Netflix, or just even letting my brain rest for a few minutes, like just a few minutes of silence with like a cup of coffee. I think it's really done wonders for me. So I'm really hoping I can continue on this roll that I've been on. So now to actually talk about the paintings themselves. So I think it's been a while since I've done some botanical illustrations. I know not long ago I did the trainers in the trees and the camera with the oranges and leaves, but in those illustrations the plant life wasn't the main focus, and some of them are quite vague, so you can't really tell what kind of plants they're supposed to be. So with these I really wanted to paint some fairly detailed plant life. Although the things that I painted, I'm not sure if they'd actually be classed as plants, as the first painting was gourds and the second one are mushrooms, so I'm not sure if they're classed as plants, but I think they still fall into the botanical illustrations. So I wanted to do something very detailed instead of it being vague. So with the mushrooms, these are mushrooms that actually exist. I'm not sure what the red ones are called, but I know the yellow one is called witch's butter. You've also got the black inky caps, which have the kind of weird goop dripping off them, which I always thought they weren't real, but they do actually exist. And with the gourds, they're just like what you'd call autumn glories and all that. These paintings weren't actually that planned out, they were kind of spur of the moment, where I just started sketching and I liked the sketch, so I thought maybe I could turn it into a finished picture. So these had no plans whatsoever, and I think they came out really nice. This is another set of paintings that I'm really pleased with. I tried to really render them and make sure they were detailed. I kept trying to make multiple layers and keep building up the colours, and I also went for limited colour palettes, so the colours on the mushroom painting are the exact same colours that I used on the gourd painting. I think having a limited selection of paints helped cut down on the decision making as well. So something I definitely wanted to do with these pieces is I definitely wanted to work from dark to light, as I think you can achieve a really interesting effect. But you can't really do that with gouache, as once you put the paint down, if you go over it again with very wet paint, you can reactivate the colour underneath. So I'd seen this technique of putting a very dark ink wash on top first and then painting on top of that, and I really liked the way it turned out. I think that worked well, as it's really fun being able to paint on top of the dark colours with lighter and lighter colours. I think it adds depth to the piece. So again, these paintings ended up being some of my favourites actually. I'm extremely happy with them. And it's been nice being happy with what I've been creating lately. A lot of you have said or commented that I am too hard on myself, but I never feel that I'm hard enough. I just want to be really disciplined when it comes to improving and trying new things and actually using my art supplies instead of letting them sit around doing nothing, because honestly that's more wasteful than actually using them and making a bad picture with them. I think another reason why I enjoyed the process of these paintings and why I'm happy with the final result is because the pressure was off to make these. I had no expectations. I kind of wasn't looking to make something amazing. All I was looking at was learning a new medium and what I could achieve with it, and I think it kind of worked. So we're coming to the end of the video. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you all next time. Bye bye!